Lora Lee Martin, episode number 6
Are you sure?
of the. No, I'm not sure it's number 6. Could be number 7.
Could be.
I think it's 6 though. I don't remember. Of Who's Who in Santa Cruz, my new series. And yes, embarrassingly, this is the 3rd time I've been to her house to do this. And I've given her the hint a couple times to make me lunch, but
No lunch, not happening.
no lunch not happening because I always screw up the sound.
And I
All
don't
right.
cook.
You don't cook?
No.
Oh, okay. You get to go.
I can get a glass of water for you.
All right, we're here today. This lady right here has her fingers in all the politics of Santa Cruz. She's like behind the scenes, behind the couch, under the table.
Excuse me?
Yeah, she knows what's going on when it comes to politics in Santa Cruz. So, as Dan Hafey said, go talk to her because she knows what's going on.
Uh-oh. Okay, what do you want
And
to
you know when I always call you when I got political questions. Right? I go, well, my phone says it's an election day coming up, and there's always races going on. And I don't know if when they start, when they stop, when they finish.
So your phone said November 7th?
Something like that, yeah.
And is it?
Is what?
Is it an election this November?
You tell me. You know.
I already told you. Do you
There's
remember?
one thing. Right? There's one thing, right? Isn't there one thing?
Well, maybe.
Couple.
But it's not a national election day.
Is it
At
like
least we don't.
Is it like the
When-
east side of Santa Cruz election day?
Do you remember when our next election in California
It's in
is?
March.
Yes.
They moved it forward from June, because California wanted to come first.
Yes.
So
You remembered some stuff.
I'm learning.
All right. So you called me about the county supervisor races. Is how that
Yeah, and
started.
there's 5. We have 5 districts.
Yes. Would you like to describe them and tell me who sits in them?
No, I don't want to describe them because they go from all over the county, right? We got Felipe Hernandez. Mm-hmm. We have
And he's in District
Zach
4.
Friend. Zach Friend, who's moving back down south.
And he's District 2.
Manu,
And he's District 1.
Bruce McPherson,
District 5.
and we have the black gentleman, Justin Cummings,
Justin Cummings, District 3.
I got them all.
Yeah, you got them all. Now, which one of those districts are up for re-election?
Manu's is.
District 1,
Bruce McPherson's retiring, possibly.
possibly.
And Zach Friend's out of here.
And Zach Friend has just said he's not
So
going to run.
3 of them.
Districts 1, 2, and 5. I'm using my cheat sheet.
1, 2, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you're in 1, 2, and 5, you better get with it.
Well, when's the filing deadline?
December sometime.
Okay. When's
But-
the filing open?
Again,
I'm looking
end of
again.
November.
November 13th is when the filing opens for races, and
Okay.
it ends on December 8th.
That's when you can throw your hat in the ring.
Yes.
So November 13th or November 14th, when you're going to know exactly who's vying for what spot.
I think he thought he was going to get to ask the questions. This is fun. Do you know how many?
I'm not saying another word.
Well, no, this is fun. So, how many people are running for different supervisor districts? Do you have any idea yet?
How many people are running for different supervisors?
We don't know officially because I can't
there's some on
file
the list,
yet.
right? I don't know. It's probably another 6.
So for Manu's seat, there's
There's the gal, Kristen John. No, she's Kristen. She's Zach
Kristen
Friend.
Brown.
I forget who's going
So
for what.
Manu's district is Lonnie.
No,
who's,
that's right.
Indicated interest so far, but nobody's filed because the filing hasn't opened yet. And for Zach Friend's seat, we have Kristen Brown, who's interested.
Who I interviewed.
Kim DeSerpa, who you should interview as well.
Yeah, I contacted Kim
And
DeSerpa
I'm
today.
hearing there are a couple others that are running for those seats.
All right.
And then Bruce McPherson's seat, we know that Monica Martinez is interested in that so far.
Okay.
And somebody named Chris Bradford.
Okay.
So those are the 2 that we
All
know
right.
officially are interested.
Okay.
Yeah. So why should you vote?
Because it makes a difference, you know. If you want to get something done, you got to vote for it.
Yeah.
It's your privilege and your right. And you're blessed to be able to live in a country where you can do that.
Tell them. I think everybody needs to vote.
Because the last vote was pretty poor turnout. I think you would mention it was a pretty poor turnout.
I think most of our election turnouts would get a D or an F grade if you were in a classroom below 60%.
Right.
So.
A little bit about your background as far as politics. I know you work for Jimmy Carter, which is well, that's something in itself. And you, not too many times a day do you talk to somebody who has been into the Oval Office, which is you have.
Yeah, it was fun. Can I go back further than that? Okay. Raised in Paradise, California. Father was a veterinarian who worked until he was 87. And he was burned out of the Paradise fires 5 years ago and now lives in Santa Cruz at age 96. But grew up with lots of animals.
So you take care of Goose?
He doesn't have his license anymore, but he used to help take care of all of my animals.
All right.
Boy, was it cheaper when you have a dad who's a veterinarian.
Yeah.
And then I went to UC Davis, got a zoology degree, pre-veterinary medicine.
Zoology degree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I went to UC Berkeley and got an MBA.
Were you trying to follow your dad's footsteps?
I was interested in zoology and veterinary medicine, but I finished and I literally had a boyfriend who was moving to Berkeley to get a law degree, an MBA, and I went along and got into the MBA program.
Did you have the boyfriend?
No.
Gone.
No,
All right.
gone.
All right, he's out of here.
No boyfriends.
Okay.
But let me know if you're Can you cut that part out?
No, you said there's no editing here.
Darn it.
Because I don't know how to edit it, so I don't know how to do it. So
Okay.
you're out.
So I finished my MBA program,
Yeah.
and the bottom line of corporations was the main thing they taught us, how important the bottom line of corporations were, and that included firing people at Christmas, and I thought that was a sucky idea.
Yeah, it's pretty cruel.
It was really mean. I
Yeah.
could never do that. So I left and went to Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
duffel bag and running shoes and the names of a few people who were working out there, and one of them was in the West Wing working
you-
for Jimmy Carter.
You went right to Jimmy Carter. How do you must have knocked on a few doors and got you must have got lucky somehow, right?
I actually didn't tell you this part before. I was accepting a job to work for Conoco Oil in the Gulf. I was going to be put on an oil rig. I thought that would be very cool. And my father thought that would not be very cool to send a 25-year-old redhead out to a Gulf rig. So he called a friend who'd worked on political campaigns, and they gave me a list of a dozen names. And they were all working in the administration in Washington.
Yeah.
So when I flew out, I met them all.
You met them all?
Met them all. Somebody gave me a couch to stay on until I could get a job. I
Right.
knocked on lots of doors and got hired to work both on the national campaign for President Carter, but also did White House advance work with him.
Has politics changed much since that, or has voting changed a lot since back in the Jimmy Carter days? How long ago was that? 30 years?
Long time ago.
How long ago was that? 30?
I went out there in 1979, was there till 85.
Okay.
So,
has what's a lot changed in voting? Just to talk about voting for a second.
voting?
Yeah.
That's a Gail Pellerin kind of question, Gail.
Yeah.
We have machines that are different now. We've got absentee ballots that are mailed to people in California. There's a lot of different things about how we vote. I'd say if we could switch back to what's going on in Washington, what's different is you would have disagreements over policy back then, but then you'd go have dinner with people from across the aisle. Today, they don't do that.
I was thinking that do people don't want to vote because I don't want to say politics doesn't interest them, but like it's so vast nowadays with TV stations. You got all these TV stations back in 1979. ABC, CBS, NBC. Now you've got plethora of TV stations, and it gets shoved down your throat. And by the time voting comes around, you're like you're right up to here with it. So it doesn't make you want to go rush out to almost like get yourself self-involved.
Well, it's just big money. There's just a lot of money in campaigning, and the parties put a lot of money into it. Private interests are now putting a lot of money into it. The dark money comes in, and the consultants who make money on it.
What's that?
There's a lot of consultants who make big money on this as well.
Just take Gail Pellerin, who I know and you know, obviously here in Santa Cruz, she's a assemblywoman, correct? I mean, the minute she got voted in, she's got to go back out kind of like almost immediately to go campaign for her next time she's going to be for the next election.
Yeah, because that's a 2-year cycle, so you're constantly running.
Does it give you time to do? Does it? Is your eye on the ball, or is your eye on oh shit, I got to go make some money. We're going to go make some money here. Or can you make, it's
It depends on the elected. It depends on the constituents and sort of the time in the cycle. So when you're brand new, you're really working hard to understand what's going on. The
Right.
longer you're in office, the easier that, not easier, but the more comfortable you are with that part, and your networks are stronger.
yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard work for everybody. So
Why did you?
because it's hard work. No. I've found that I can do a lot not being in elected office.
Right.
In fact, Sam Farr once told me that I can make a bigger impact by not being in elected office, and I've made some huge impacts on things.
So what kind of title do you? I mean, what's your business card say you are?
My business card says "Art of the Possible," because I think that anything that's a human construct can be changed. I've been called science policy advocate, or just a policy advocate. When I worked for the university, I was able to help change federal programs to bring new money into marine research in the area. I spent a dozen years working closely with Sam Farr's office to bring the U.S. Geological Survey Marine Center to Santa Cruz out of Menlo Park, 10 years to get the National Marine Fisheries Lab out of Tiburon down to Santa Cruz, negotiated the transfer of lands, led the negotiations for the CSU Monterey Bay campus and,
Yeah.
the UC MBES properties,
Yeah.
total of about 2,400 acres of land given to us for free. All that without
So you
being
get to
elected.
you get to pick your poison.
It's fun. It's
Right?
just fun.
You think it's fun? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's so much fun.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Helping a group now down in Pacific Grove that's been working to try to save an old federal building that sits near the lighthouse.
Yeah.
That's zoned for open space and marine serving activities, marine research and education. So hopefully that someday will happen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What's your biggest what's your feather in your cap? Your biggest achievement that you've in your political, I would say, political career?
I'd say there's lots of feathers. I like feathers. One of the programs I created was in Sacramento, and it's a PhD fellowship in the state legislature. So we recruited. I started in 2009, and recruited at that time 10 scientists and engineers from around the country. Put them through an intense training of about a month, and then put them in the state legislature. And about half of them end up staying in the legislature
Yeah.
afterwards. So that multiplies. We're over 10 years out, so there's a lot of people who've been through that program. Changes their thinking, but it also brings
Right.
new thinking to the legislative process.
And what's the hardest thing you've been able to something you worked on for years that you're able to finally get it over the line? Was there something like that you've experienced?
Oh, lots of them.
Yeah.
So the forward conveyances for the CSU campus and UC MBEST took 3 years of changing federal law, changing state law, and leading negotiations against a panel of a dozen military guys literally.
Yeah.
And hey, Goose. And then the marine fisheries took 10 years. USGS took 12. I think one of the secrets of this work is knowing what you want, finding the tools to get there,
Yeah.
and then just not giving up.
Right.
So,
Like Goose, got your
Yeah, this
teeth
is
in the
my
bone.
dog, Goose.
This is Goose right here.
hi, Goose. You want to come up here? Come on. You're on TV.
So, well, this year obviously there's a lot more women that are going to vying
Yeah.
to become supervisor. Before, as I think someone mentioned to me, maybe it was you. It was only Marty Wormhout many moons ago.
I
maybe.
wasn't here when that happened, but Marty, I think, was on the supervisor. I don't know what year she was on, but we've got several women vying to be on the board
Right.
of supervisors, which would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'm also on the board of the Democratic Women's Caucus, in Santa Cruz County, and on a group called Wilder, and we're trying to increase the diversity of representation in elected office. And
Yeah.
elected offices aren't just city council or supervisor or assembly or senate or Congress. It also includes school boards.
Yeah.
And there's different commissions you can sit on. There's a variety of ways to be involved.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to get involved in politics.
And just in your community. So
Yeah.
I think it's just knowing that all of this is our responsibility
Right.
and that we should be involved. Make a
So
difference.
this is a big deal right here. The supervisor race for next year, which is next year, is a big deal in Santa Cruz. A lot of, as I said, women involved.
And when's the election?
March sometime. March, I don't know the date.
I think it's March 7th.
Is it? March 7th.
It's
So
a
March
Tuesday.
7th, be prepared.
Tuesday in March. Yeah.
Lora Lee Martin, thank you. Episode number 6, we think. Could be 7. I don't think it's 5.
And this could be take 3 out of 10. We don't know that either. Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Goose, come here. Quick, get on this. Get on.